caught up on an episode last night, and I just realized it, that another one of the characters is just like sitting right there in front of my face. And if you watch Gotham, you know it probably better than I do. See, half the time, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, half the time I'm busy doing something. I'm busy on my computer, so I'm not really paying attention. I'm reading stories or whatever. So I'm watching TV, but I'm not really watching. But if you've been paying attention to the TV show Gotham, basically one of the policemen, the guy that keeps telling the riddles, hello? I guess that guy's going to end up being the Riddler. Not I guess, he is, because they're calling him the Enigma, and that actually was the Riddler's name in the Batman series. So I figured that out. Yeah. Duh. You are listening to the Doug Stewart Show. The number is 404-382-0338. Once again, 404-382-0338. Whatever you want to talk about, we can get into on today's show. You can hit me up on the chat line on Spreaker.com, as well as Twitter. I'm all over the place at the Doug Stewart Show on Twitter. And what we're talking about, man, is Adrian Peterson, a couple little stories out there. Nothing really big. College football playoff committee has come up with the new rankings with the top 4 teams. So we'll get into that as well. But Minnesota Vikings star Adrian Peterson avoided jail time Tuesday in a plea agreement reached with prosecutors to resolve his child abuse case. All right, he pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor charge of reckless assault. Now, what this means is no felonies, and he's not going to the hooskow. That's the biggest thing. Because, let's be honest, whether you think that what he did was excessive or not, and whipping his kid, he could have gone to jail. Because a lot of times in these type situations with a big name that people know, it becomes political. It does. Like the whole thing, I think, with Plaxico Burress. Plaxico Burress went to jail, one, because he was stupid and he did something stupid with the whole gun in the nightclub. But there had been people in the same type of position that didn't do jail time. You know, and the mayor of New York wanted to prove this point about gun violence, about possessing weapons. And so Plaxico's a big name. And I really believe, and a lot of people may not even agree with me, I believe a lot of the reason why dude spent time in jail was because he was a celebrity. So if you think for 1 minute that Adrian Peterson, didn't have a very good chance of going to jail behind this, you're crazy. So the best thing was for them to, come to an agreement and plead out, and dude's not going to have to go to jail. And I said this earlier, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I mean, really, be honest with yourself. Do you think Adrian Peterson meant to hurt his kid? No, he didn't mean to hurt his kid. I don't believe so. And that's what it all comes down to now. Was he excessive? Did it go over the line? Probably, especially in a lot of people's minds, it probably did. But he didn't mean to. He had no intention of causing that bodily harm to his kids. So it all comes down to that. And I think that he probably would have had a good case. It probably would have been a little bit of egg on the prosecution's face as well for taking this to trial, taxpayers' money, that type of thing. So I think this is the best solution. Now it's even possible, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, now it's even possible that Adrian Peterson might play football again this year. I mean, who would have seen that coming? Nobody. Yeah, like Jim Harbaugh says, nobody. So he can go back and probably play for the Vikings in a week or so. I think they got a bye week coming up here very soon. And, they're right there in the thick of things. I think the Vikings right now, what's their record? Vikings right now are 4-4, or yes, they're 4-5. They're 4-5 right now. So there's still football left to be played. Okay, and so Teddy Bridgewater's doing pretty good. They've won their last 2 games. And so Adrian Peterson coming back, even though the running backs for the Vikings have been doing very good. The Sada kid, I really like him. He's a beast. But, yeah, having Adrian Peterson is better than not having Adrian Peterson. Kind of like the same situation when you talked about the Georgia Bulldogs and not having Todd Gurley. Can't be better than having Todd Gurley. There's just no way around it. And it kind of came back to bite them this weekend against the Florida Gators. even though really the Bulldogs lost that game because they just gave up a ton of yards rushing to the Florida Gators. But, yeah, I mean, you want your best player back, and I think this is a good thing. I think Adrian Peterson is a good person at heart. I don't think he has malice in his heart. I don't think he's trying to injure his kid. And you saw from the little press conference afterwards where he talked about that, and he's just happy to regain or restart his relationship with his son. I didn't know that part, and I guess it kind of makes sense when you think about it. He's being charged with assaulting and abusing his child. Yeah, it kind of makes sense that you can't have any contact with him. So how's that going to all play out going forward? With the baby's mama, with the kid? You know, this is all over the news. This is something they're going to have to live with for the rest of their lives. Not only Adrian Peterson, but the kid and the family. And this is going to be a topic of discussion at Thanksgiving dinner. You know, it's going to be kind of awkward. It's going to be very awkward. But in effect, this is over. It's done with. And now we got to see what Roger Goodell says about the whole thing. And, you know, how he's going to rule as far as when he can come back, if he can come back, fines, that type of thing. Paying back money. So it's a lot to be sorted out. And it's kind of interesting because Roger Goodell right now, today as a matter of fact, is supposed to be testifying in the Ray Rice case. Okay? And Ray Rice appealing the decision or the suspension that he received from the league. So very interesting times in the NFL. And can't wait to see what happens with this Adrian Peterson thing. I'm happy for the kid. I'm happy for him because, once again, I've said it a lot of times today, I don't think that he has malice in his heart. I don't think that he's a child abuser. I don't think he meant to hurt his kid. And that's really what it all comes down to. Did he? Yes. That goes under the category of a mistake, of an accident, I think, more so than being a child abuser and tagged with that title. And nobody wants to be tagged with a child abuser title. Nobody. 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. Who's a small-time team that you kind of follow? All right? Not a college team. It's kind of morphed off a little bit different. But when I was growing up, I kind of followed the Charleston Rainbows. And it was the Rainbows, and they were the Royals. And I can't even remember who the team they were affiliated with. But they've been several names. They're the River Dogs now, I think, maybe. They're the minor league baseball team in Charleston, South Carolina. So we didn't have a professional baseball team in South Carolina. So my parents, you know, they get these free tickets, and we go down and watch the Charleston Royals play baseball downtown Charleston. And so that was always very cool. They've had some big-name players come through there as well. I think maybe it was Alex Rodriguez. Alex Rodriguez, I believe, maybe played there. So a couple of guys, a couple of big name players have played for the Royals organization at one time before they made it to the major league. So that's kind of some fun we're having today with the Dougie Daily topic. We're going to have on head coach of the Georgia State Panthers a little bit later, Ron Hunter. These guys are doing fantastic things. In his third year, they won the conference. Won 17-1 last year. Won the conference. They lost in the tournament, but a fantastic year for Coach Hunter. His son plays on the team, so we're going to talk to him, get the gist of what's going on with Georgia State basketball, which is another program, another part of their program at Georgia State that I think can be a big-time program. I think Georgia State is like a sleeping giant, and they keep moving conferences, going up in division, in football and in basketball. I just think it's a perfect mix, okay? You're in Atlanta. You're in downtown Atlanta. So if you wanted to go to Georgia Tech, but you couldn't get into Georgia Tech academically, you can go to Georgia State. You want to play big-time football, you might want to go to Athens and play for the Georgia Bulldogs, but you don't want to go to Athens. You want to stay in the city. You go to Georgia State. So I think they got a good product to sell, man. And so we're going to talk to Coach Hunter a little bit later about that and all other issues concerning the Georgia State basketball program. All right, stay tuned for that. 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. Also, yesterday, for the Georgia Bulldogs, Georgia Athletic Director Greg McGarity discussed the Todd Gurley situation quickly about that, answered several questions, talked about on whether Georgia was expected to have Gurley to miss at least 4 games all year long. He answered that question, says they didn't really know. Talked about them being on the mercy of the NCAA, so they had to wait things out. On the possibility Gurley could have gotten an even longer suspension, talked about that as well, responded to that. And also a lot of questions about Todd Gurley and his status with the team. The University of Georgia had been taking a lot of heat because a lot of people feel like they kind of, pushed this thing along when they didn't have to. And basically McGarity says, listen, they're going to be responsible as a university and make sure that they have the program in the best light and is doing what's right for the program and for the players, that song and dance. So a lot of answers, but not really a lot of answers. And talking about the Todd Gurley situation, Gurley wanted to come back and play football. That's something that they talked about as well in the press conference. So Gurley's going to be able to come back and play against Auburn. So it's kind of lost a lot of its luster because of the loss that they had this past weekend against the Florida Gators. But the way the story reads is he wants to go out, and finish the drill. That's the way Mark Richt put it. That's a quote from Mark Richt, that Gurley wants to finish the drill. So it's going to be good to see him back in pads. I'm praying for that young man that he has good health because I don't even know if I wanted to come back. If I'm Todd Gurley, what's the point of even coming back? They aren't going to win a national championship. And knock on wood, God forbid something happens injury-wise. But what's the point? They don't want you to prosper off of yourself, your name, your likeness, your brand. You're going to be in the NFL in a couple months anyway. The team's not going to win a national championship. And I know it's about, camaraderie and your teammates and all of that type of stuff. But it's the real world as well. So you have to look at your options. And I'm sure him and the people surrounding him have looked at their options. And they felt like that it was the right thing to do to come back. The guy's going to be a first-round draft pick. I don't know, though. I might have been like, freak it, I can't cope. You're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Freak it, I'm not coming back. Sayonara, peace. I'm done. Start working out right now for the combine, for the draft, and keep it moving, man. Move on with life. They don't love you. They don't love them hoes. They do not love you. And I'm talking about Todd Gurley as the NCAA and college football, really. It's about them making money and about you not making money and holding you from not making money. So, I don't know. All right, up next on the Doug Stewart Show. Talk a little bit more about some college football. Grab your calls, read your chat. Got a bunch of chat messages on Spreaker.com. We will do that. Don't go away, the Doug Stewart Show.
This your folk, Doug Stewart. Want to protect you and your family from life's unexpected mishaps? Then join 7. Join 7 is a prepaid legal company under the umbrella of the Protection Group. Join 7 is the only group benefit or motor club in the U.S. that offers auto reimbursement coverage, key replacement coverage, roadside assistance, gives you a current Medi-file, prescription savings, and a fully encompassed prepaid legal benefit that includes identity theft. They got your back. The average combined cost to purchase these benefits individually is over $850 a year. Join today and take advantage of all 7 for $17 a month. They've been around for over 20 years, so check them out by clicking on the banner link on my page, thedougstewartshow.com, or the app. Just go ahead and join 7. All right, I know the deal. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it, and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one source, a Facebook shopping application, a mobile-optimized website, and much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on the link on thedougstewartshow.com or the app link for details. The Doug Stewart Show is off and running, but just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk show personalities in America? By the way, that's me. Getting in on the ground floor? Well, call us at 847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com, and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands